Newsflash, if they wanted to get into it, they would. They don't. So you can't force people to get into something. And that's how you get activists instead of actual people who are interested in gaming. Because when you start to get jobs off of your interest alone, off of your passion, then you start to see who the real demographic of that space actually is. But once you start adding inclusion and representation, you're going to get activists because they're forced to be there. Not because of a skill set, but because of check boxes. Now they're only there because of what they see on that surface, color-wise. That's why the industry is f***ed up. Yo, representation is 100% necessary, apparently, for indie games. The reason why I'm responding to this video, or not responding, because she didn't send me anything. She probably don't even know I exist, but whatever. I'm still gonna talk about it. This is my Discord right here. I got sent this video probably 3 or 4 times, not by the same person, but by different people. And the reason why they're sending it to me is because I made a video very similar, but it's in the opposite direction. This is the video I made. I said the idea of representation is stupid in entertainment and gaming. And I stand by that still today. Matter of fact, I'm gonna double down. But I like to give people a chance. So I'm gonna back up a little bit because everybody is clowning this girl apparently. But I'm not gonna do that because I'm nice, all right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give her a chance. She seemed like a nice young lady. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sit back and see if she could convince me if that's actually the case. Oh, Jesus, she's starting off very, very well with the identity because I could just tell what type of girl she is. Just by, I hate knowing people. I'm very people conscious to just know what type of person I'm dealing with just by the look itself. That's why I touch grass, people. It teaches you a lot about life in general.
What meaning does life have if we don't assign meaning to it? What purpose do we as humans even have in this reality if we don't have a beginning, a development, a rising action, and a conclusion, whether that be a...
That's too much positivity coming out my ass at one time. Jesus fucking Christ, dial it back. Bro, the energy. Oh my God. She seems like a nice person, but she also seems like she's trying to, like, she seems like the type of person who knows she's sheltered, right? And she's trying to be understanding the best way she possibly can. And that's most people in the industry anyway, right? Like, there certain type of white people, they're guilty, so they feel like they have to go out their way to understand other people who may not be privileged like them. That's the type of vibes I get from her. She seemed like a nice person. She's just very, she's just misguided. That's all it is.
Happy ending or a sad ending. I think this is why we as humans gravitate towards fictional works so often. We gravitate towards movies and books and comics and especially video games as a way to add value and bring meaning and order to our lives. But it's these very stories that construct the lens at which we view society and discuss with other people what we view to be true. And our opinions are formed through the media that we consume. And this is why it is so critical that we have diversity and representation of all groups telling these stories, whether that be through any of these forms, but especially through indie games, which is what I am personally specializing in.
And you know what? I'm just going to be honest with you. I agree. And you know why I agree? It's not for the reason why you think, trust me. I agree that indie games is the perfect place for people who got fucked up ideas to put their shit in, because it's actually a side thing, right? To where it's like, you got developers from all shapes and sizes, whatever, mental capacities. So you got this space that's basically like the Sundance channel or the IFC channel when it comes to movies. So you get to just do whatever the fuck you want, right? So I like that. She's right. It's when you start injecting that fucked up type of world into shit that there's already a fan base established. You kind of see what I'm saying? Like, that's like, okay, let me put it like this. In television, there used to be channels back when I used to have cable. Logo was for gay people. BET was for black people. Hallmark channel was for white people who were like upper middle class who thought that, they didn't have to work for a living because nobody ever has a job in those fucking shows. Where are they getting the money from? I don't know. But the thing is, you have those type of spaces, right? Just imagine if Hallmark decided to put their family values or whatever the fuck they got going on inside BET. The people who watch BET is going to be like, where's my black shit? What the fuck is this? I gotta work. Yo ass is pretending like you don't have to work. So it fucks up the whole, the whole system. Keep that shit over here in Hallmark. And that's just like Logo injecting themselves into Hallmark or BET. And it's like, Okay, listen, we have a particular, because, look, Christian families watch Hallmark, right? White Christian families watch Hallmark. So just imagine Logo injecting their shit into Hallmark Channel, right? It's not going to go well. So that's the position that I'm taking on this. It's like, you can have your fucked up ideas. Just keep it separate. I want you to have your space. Just don't bring it into my space and then call me a bigot when I don't accept it. That's all it is.
So I want to talk about this today, my thoughts on why representation is so important, especially in the indie game industry.
I agree.
But first, my name is Helena, and I'm the studio director of my indie game studio, Cozy Cat Games, which is a team of 4 women developing a cozy baking game called Madame Fifi's Bakery. And you only have 17 days left to pledge to our Kickstarter campaign, where our goal to be fully funded is 55,000 Canadian dollars. And there's a ton of really cool tiers that you can only get if you pledge in this Kickstarter, including...
Why does she talk like she's talking to a kindergartner? She's a nice person. She's talking like she's talking to a kindergartner. Like she's talking to a kid who is like, you know, who's not mentally there and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, she doesn't even realize she's doing it. I used to work for managers that used to talk like this shit too. And I used to have to tell them, 'cause I'm a grown ass man. I'm like, stop talking to me like that. I know you're not doing it on purpose, but just be aware. I understand you're around kids. You have kids. This one manager I had like a Down syndrome kid. So she just used to talking to people like that, and that's really all she know. That's her life and stuff, right? So she take that way she talks to work, and everybody there be like, why the fuck is she talking to me like I'm some retarded ass kid? It's like, stop, talk to me as an adult. Stop talking to me like that, all right? You don't have to be like, it's okay, I could do la la la. Stop doing that. I'm an adult, all right? And more likely you're talking to adults in this video too. And it's just very it come off as condescending, but I know she doesn't mean it. But it's just like, you know, I just hate that shit. I really do.
An art book, a Kickstarter exclusive outfit, recipe books, beta testing privileges, and so much more. There's a free demo to play of the game available in the description, which you can try on either Steam or itch.io. And please leave us your thoughts and pledge if you're able to. And even if it's just $1, it really helps us in the algorithm. Thank you so much in advance, and let's get on with the video. This video is inspired by the video that I posted 2 days ago. Actually, originally 3. I
oh shit.
made a video called Why More Girls Need to Make Games. And I had padded with me and my fellow teammate in my studio, Kat, who is the creative art director. You can see some of her beautiful art on screen.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Art director, you can...
The fuck is this? Is this supposed to be Spider-Man? It's supposed to be gender neutral Spider-Man? You know what? She's right. I love the fact that she wanted to create indie games and she wanted to keep it there. I love it. Keep this shit over there.
You can see some of her beautiful art on screen. I think that it was such an important message to tell, especially as an all-female indie studio. Our experience as women, not only making games, but also playing games. It's important to encourage more girls making these games.
I agree.
And what our experiences and what it's like. I was blown away by the negative feedback and the negative comments that we had in that comment section. There were tons of amazing, really positive comments, but there was also a flood of asking for our OnlyFans, saying that we're not actually gamers, that she's actually, because she played.
You don't say? You got negative comments basically saying that where's your OnlyFans, you're a team full of women in a male-dominated genre or industry. I would never have thought that. That's so mean. Not every woman that does such and such is on OnlyFans, okay? I'm being a dick. But the point is, though, when you come into a space, I understand she got her own type of studio to where she got 4 ladies that's making games for women, but you're also making games for women in a space to where the gaming industry normally is for men. I'm just gonna be real with you. I would say about like 75% of consumers when it comes to the whole gaming market, even games that's made for females, is played by men. So you're gonna get comments like this. That's just like in Call of Duty lobbies, right? I already know what to expect. I'm gonna get the N-word. Even back in the day. Yeah, not now, because people are pussified now. Like they really don't say shit anymore. They don't joke like how they used to. But back during the Modern Warfare 2 days, you know if you were black or even sound black, you're getting the N-word. It is what it is. But nobody tried to ban the N-word from Modern Warfare 2 and being like, well, yup, this is all racists play Call of Duty. No, it was just a banter. Welcome to the world, lady. You're in our world. That's just like if I was to join a female-dominated space. So let's say if I like fashion, right? I already know for a fact that if I was a masculine male, right? 9 times out of 10, I went to school with these people, right? So I know what I'm talking about. Most men are in the fashion industry. They're very into their femininity, their feminine side more than their masculine side. Let's just keep it a buck, right? So they're not going to get as much flack as I would if I was in the fashion industry because that's their space. So I know I would get certain talking points, or people would be talking to me a different type of way that they wouldn't talk to anybody else at, because I'm in a world where I technically my type would not be at. It comes with the territory. You just got to accept.
Plays shooting games, that she's not actually good at shooting games. tons of stuff that was absolutely unnecessary. That I
Bitch
had
get
to
in the
take the
kitchen.
video
You know, that's those type
and
of
then
shit.
I re-uploaded the video the next day, but just me alone, because Kat didn't want her first experience on the channel to be so polarizing and controversial. I was reading through the comment section
Jesus.
of this video, and a lot of people were saying that I should steer clear of political subjects, and that it's like, you know, no one cares about who's making the game. They just care if it's a good game. And
Absolutely. See, they do read the common sense comments. I hope she actually take it to heart, because that's the smartest advice she's ever going to get.
all this stuff like that. And I think that there's so much more nuance than just that. I think that there's a big perception that people have about making games that they don't understand if they're coming from a non-minority group. If they're coming from a group that is...
What the fuck does that matter? What the fuck does that... You think I watch a movie and be like, I wonder if this was made by a black person. I wonder if this was made by an actual disabled person. I wonder if this movie that was a Daredevil was directed by an actual blind man. Because how else would they know how blind men act or navigate through life? I would never know. If I wouldn't be satisfied if I figured out that a person who directed the movie was not actually blind. That shit would just crush me. Like, what type of shit are we talking about here? You don't need to know that. If the entertainment is good, that's all that matters to me. Matter of fact, we live in this society now, ever since social media started, popping up, and people and celebrities started giving their personal opinions on shit that we never asked them for. We just like celebrities to be celebrities. Remember back in the day when you didn't know about their personal life, their personal beliefs, any of that shit? Celebrities and superstars actually seemed like superstars and celebrities because there was that unknowing factor about them that basically elevated them to where we had that persona in our heads where it's like, oh, I can't imagine how they are in real life. Now we do know. And it's disappointing. Reality is always disappointing than what your imagination can come up with. So as soon as we started to see what these celebrities were talking, we started to know, oh, these celebrities are actually stupid. Oh, they're stupid. Just like regular people. Holy shit. Who would have thought? I don't want to know that. Nobody wanted to know the fact that celebrities are actually stupid and just like real people. We want to see you as this. As soon as you start to mention what you believe in, all I'm seeing now is your belief system. I'm not seeing the movie. I'm not seeing the actor. Because you took the fact that you're ambiguous, you threw that out the window. So now all I see is your personality. It shouldn't be like that. It should be the product first, you second. That's how it was back in the day. That's why I like going to watch movies with Denzel Washington or actors of his ilk or Tom Cruise, because I know for a fact that those are the main superstars that actually exist to where I don't know shit about them behind the scenes. And that's exactly how I want. The only thing I know about Tom Cruise is the Scientology, but that's about it, though. But you guys get the point I'm making. The less you know about the person who's making shit like that, the better you're going to enjoy it. And the more you're not going to ask, who actually made this? Because I can see their identity on the screen. You're a bad writer and a bad producer. I don't want to know that shit. I just want to enjoy it. That's it. You don't need to know this shit.
Privilege, and if they've never had a struggle the day in their lives to be who they are in a space where everyone else is like them, you just won't understand. You just don't understand the experience, which is why it is so important for people to listen to minority groups in a specific area.
Oh, Jesus.
So for us, women in game development, we are a minority group. Most of the gaming industry, most of the indie gaming industry and AAA, and also just in general playing video games, is men.
True.
So every time a woman comes up, it's a shock. Right? So that's what makes a minority. And why it's important for women to tell games is because...
So she understands. Okay, cool.
We tell stories that have a different perception and different worldview that are going to tell our stories more clearly. For example, maybe some women do enjoy playing shooter games. Like Kat does enjoy playing shooter games. I don't. Personally, I love stories that have narrative, and I love heartwarming stories. And sure, a guy could tell a very narrative-driven, heartwarming story, but it's not going to have the same touch and flavor as a woman. For example, a studio that is a big inspiration to me is Cozy Bee Games. You can see the kind of similarities in the name even. It's formed by a fellow Montrealer.
She's so positive.
And she is actually a solo developer. She was at the beginning of creating the studio. And she made so many cozy games that are really speaking to people such as myself who like these kind of relaxing but narrative and wholesome games. So she's made titles such as Lemon Cake, The Ranch of Riverside, and Capybara Spa.
This basically all looks like all the woke games on the indie side of the PlayStation Store and Xbox Store, the games that nobody touches. So, but guess what? I don't have a problem with these games existing. I want these games to exist so they don't have to, listen, if they just stayed in their lane, I will not have a problem with woke shit, gay shit. I don't even have a problem with that to begin with, but the thing is, I have a problem when you put that shit that normally exists in these type of spaces and you try to eject it into, let's say, Gears of War, right? When Gears of War first came out, Gears of War is a shooter. You get the chainsaw motherfuckers, and it was about men in brotherhood, right? Basically like the last video that I was talking about. When you start injecting this world into a game like Gears of War, that's when I go, stay in your fucking, you were perfectly fine. Stay there. I'm not hopping the fence to come see what you're doing. Why are you hopping the fence to come in my yard? Why? Oh, because my grass is greener? You see me using fertilizer? Why don't you use fertilizer yourself? Grow it. Why the fuck you gotta come over here? Right? Stay in your sandbox. Why can't we do that? Why can't we have our camp and you have yours? Why do you have to inject your belief system and everything over in my space? That's what the gate is for. Stay over there. That's the only thing I have a problem with. I don't care what shit I don't care what it, bro, I could give a fuck. I really do not care. I care less if there's gay games, trans games, what's the name, running over cats. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. All right? As long as you have your space, fine. Just don't impede on mine. That's all I ask for. And then it'll be fine. Or don't call me a bigot if I don't want it in my space or in my yard. Does that make sense?
Capybara Spa, all of which are very cozy and cute games. And these types of games wouldn't be made necessarily if it was only guys. There's a really good video about girls' games in the 90s. So a lot of games that were made and targeted towards women in the 90s didn't really have a good perception of what girls actually wanted. And as a result, girls actually tended to gravitate away from those games that were targeted towards them because they were overly pink and honestly very badly made. And they actually used...
She makes a good point here because what she just basically said is how I think about the Killmonger hairstyle. It's like when somebody tries to represent somebody that they don't understand, so they end up making stuff that is, not for them actually, and it actually is offensive. That's why I would suggest people to stop trying to make things for a group you don't fucking understand. Just make a game. It's as simple as that. That's just like with what's the name? The First Descendant, right? The First Descendant is not making that game for women. That game is not for women, but women enjoy it. It's made for men. Because guess who they know is going to drop money to actually pay money for those outfits? Am I making sense now? Stay in your lane. And just make shit for who your audience is. From Software does not make games for people who want an easy mode, so where they can select it on the menu. Those games are not meant for you. Sorry. We just have to accept that certain things are not meant for all people. This idea of inclusivity and representation is fucking destroying people, actually, though. You think it's actually helping because you want to just open the floodgates and just invite everybody in? Like, come on in, everybody enjoy. That's the wrong way to go about it. We separate ourselves naturally in life. This is how we do. Even when it comes to who we want to hang out with, what type of games we play, what type of movies we watch, what car we drive, where we like to eat, all that type of shit is going to be separate by nature. You don't even have to tell people. Just make shit for who you want to make it your audience. Don't try to go over and invite Timmy because you are, because you see Timmy over there not having no fun on their friends. Let him do his thing. And if somebody want to, make something for Timmy, let them do that. Not everybody got to be invited to the cookout.
Use other types of games as a source of them playing games, like they played The Sims as a result of that, or even Minecraft, or some girls play Roblox, and like these types of games, because these are the games that they prefer playing, even though they're not made targeted towards them. These types of games were taken over by female players because there weren't any good games made directly for them. But if there are more female developers, we can make games that we know that actually a majority of women enjoy playing. So I think that that's super important. That's a big reason why girls enjoy making games, why girls should be playing games. And a lot of the times, girls can make games, sure, for everyone, but girls also really like making games for other girls. Why I'm saying it's so important for female developers to come out and make games, because then we can have more female consumers. I'm very passionate about the state.
I 100% agree with her right here. See, the thing is, she's not saying something that's too outrageous. See, I know that most people want me to just bag on her. I'm not going to do that, because what she's actually saying is what I've been saying about black people, for instance, right? I know it's not the same. It's a race issue. It's not a male to female issue. But the whole point that I brought up was the fact that if black people have an issue with a lack of representation in certain games, or they are trying to shoehorn themselves in every fucking game that come out, I want you to do exactly what she just said. How about more black people come up with studios? Make your own fucking shit. Quit trying to, and she don't seem like she's making an excuse or having an issue with it. That's the reason why I'm not really tripping about it, because she's actually pretty fair. I agree with it. Come out with your own shit. If you see a lack of representation, bring them in. Create your own studio. Say, hey, There's not enough black people. There's not enough black games. If you have an issue with that, I really don't. I just play games to have fun. But if you're that type of person, invite people in who are like-minded like you. Create a studio. Create indie games that are just for black people. Just like she's doing. So I actually respect it. I do. Number one, it's when you start to inject your shit into an established fan base that I have a problem with. Keep your ideas here. And if people want to join you, then more power to you. I'm not going to impede on your parade and be like, your female game shouldn't exist. It's fucking up the market. It's not. It's her space. That's why it's called the free market. You don't see McDonald's being mad at Burger King for being on the same block, right? It's competition. Whoever gets the most money gets the most money. And then Chick-fil-A came along and just blew all of them out the water. I guess the AAA industry is Chick-fil-A. And McDonald's and Burger King is everything else.
That game consumption and game development and playing games shouldn't be a male-dominated hobby because it's gender neutral. It's consuming a story and it's a mouse and a keyboard, not something that any gender would be better at. For me specifically and our studio Cozy Cat Games, I know a lot about the minority and representation of women's stories that we need. But there is also an equal need and demand for stories told by minorities groups and races and LGBT folks and people of all different backgrounds. A really good example that comes to mind is Venba, which is a story about an immigrant Indian family that's come to Canada and experiences their life through their cuisine and their food. And they have an amazing gameplay and visual aesthetics, and it's a very, very beautiful game. And it tells a story that myself personally, I wouldn't know what the experience of an immigrant Indian family would be if I hadn't played this game myself. And now I feel like I know the world a little bit better. It's the same in writing stories, and it's the same in producing movies. Video games need to have a diverse array of creators, and especially in the indie game scene.
I agree with that 100%, but when you get to the AAA, fuck all that. I don't want that shit in there. AAA is like mainstream, right? That means you're trying to appeal to a mass audience. And the mass audience, I'm sorry, is more predominantly male. So when you're doing when you're doing, that's because she said it. When you're doing indie games, have at it. That's like the IFC or Sundance of the game, you know, like of the gaming type of space. Have at it. That's where you're going to see the most crazy, unique shit, right? But when you go to like AAA, right? That entertainment space is already established. Hence, who are the juggernauts of the AAA space? It's Call of Duty. It was Gears of War, Halo, The Witcher, World of Warcraft. Yeah, but the point that I'm saying is those are all male-dominated games. When you start to, the problem that we have as gamers is when you have those 5 male-dominated games and they start to ask questions like, well, we want the female audience to enjoy it as well, so let's start injecting shit that female will want, and then you turn off your male audience, and then you see your sales go down because you don't realize that market is already established for us. Once you start injecting shit and start to be like, okay, we can add females custodies or shit that never existed into a genre that's already established, and then you make it seem like we're sexist because we don't want shit changed that we already knew, that's when I have an issue. Keep your shit over there. Or create a whole new game that's a AAA game, make it female oriented, and see if it succeeds. But here's the point, you know it won't. That's the reason why you attach yourself to IPs like a fucking leech, and you try to suck the life out of it with your shitty ideas, with a fan base that is not going to accept it at any cost. And you can try to spin the whole sexist narrative and call us, and try to guilt trip us into buying the game. It's not going to work.
I started making games back in 2016, 2017. I was looking online so much for like indie game tutorials, programming tutorials. 99% of the time, it's a white man, who explains how to do all these tutorials for you. And it's also like white men interviewing other white men about their success stories as indie developers.
We live in fucking America. What do you expect? What do you expect? Do you think that Eminem complains about every single record label he goes to is ran by a black dude? Do you think that he complains about that? He knows he's in a space where it's just mostly black people. This is his space. I don't understand why people act like this is an issue. That's just like if I go, bro, listen, I'm an artist, right? So I know if I go to any company, any art company, gaming company, whatever, I know more than likely before I even think about it, I'm going to talk to a white male. It is what it is. I know my people are not going to get into that space too often. It's just how it is. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to force change it and be like, we need to get more black people in here. We need to get more women. Newsflash, if they wanted to get into it, they would. They don't. So you can't force people to get into something. And that's how you get activists instead of actual people who are interested in gaming. Because when you start to get jobs off of your interest alone, off of your passion, then you start to see who the real demographic of that space actually is. But once you start adding inclusion and representation, you're going to get activists because they're forced to be there. Not because of a skill set, but because of check boxes. Now they're only there because of what they see on that surface, color-wise. That's why the industry is fucked up. And people say DEI is not a problem.
Developers. And there's just something so discouraging about that. And for some reason, looking at this, when I was a kid, I was like, well, I guess this is not for me because I'm not anything like them. I'm not a guy. Like, I can't relate to the way they tell stories. I can't relate to their desires. I mean, I love to like create stories and I love to develop video games, but I feel like our experiences are so different. And that's why it's so important for people who are learning and wanting to go into the field to see people like themselves so that they can also realize that it's possible for someone like them. So if you're a girl watching this and you see me and a group of 4 girls making video games, you're like, oh wait, this isn't just a guy thing. And that is probably one of the #1 reasons why representation is so important, because it encourages other people to join the industry and it becomes less gatekept. As you can—
Wait, did you say gatekept? What does that shit mean? What does that mean? Am I a boomer? I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Especially with the context of that sentence. I really don't know what that means. But I'm going to go back to what she said, though.
My representation is so important because it encourages other people to join the industry and it becomes less gatekept. As you can see, I'm very passionate about this. These are—
Oh, Jesus. She's such a bubbly person. She's a nice person. But she's a nice person. Her worldview is that she thinks that she has to understand everything. And she's trying to be fair almost to a fault. And it's like, let me put it like this, right? I dealt with white people like this consistently back in the day, to where it's like, especially when I started going to schools in the suburbs, certain white people would be like, they would try to relate to you by reciting hip hop lyrics in front of you, even though they don't rap, or they only know one Kendrick song, or they only know one Drake song. And it's like, bro, I get it. That's just like you pretending to be a Pokemon fan, right? To a person who you know is a Pokemon enthusiast, and the only Pokemon you know is Pikachu. It's like, stop doing that. Like people who know that type of shit can actually see that from a mile away. And it's like, we know you're trying to be nice. We know you're trying to like open your arms up and shit. That doesn't make people feel wanted. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't make me feel like I'm invited. It makes me feel like you have to make people accept me. I don't want you to make it seem like you have to accept me by indulging yourself in my culture. That's the point of us being different. I want to know your music, just like how you might want to know mine. So let me teach you. Or don't. Fuck it. It doesn't have to be that way. We could be interested in something else. You don't have to always be like, oh, I like hip hop because you're black, right? Yeah. Kendrick Lamar? I don't like that. And I'm not going rock music, right? Yeah. With a guitar? I know plenty of rock music though, but the point is, that sounds so condescending to me. But most people who are like her, they don't realize how disrespectful it comes off and how tone deaf it comes off. And that's the people that we got in this industry right now, is the fact that they're all like this. I'm glad she's in the indie space and she's not fucking up keep these people over here. She's a nice person. Like I said, there's a space for everybody. Just don't try to hop the fence. That's all I'm saying.
Here are all my thoughts on this. Honestly, I have made a video every single day this week. Guys, I am working so hard for this Kickstarter. I have made a YouTube video every single day this week.
God damn.
There's missing one because I had to take one down because of the comments. But I have worked so hard. Please.
She took one down because of the comments? Oh, you gotta have thicker skin, girl. Come on.
I have worked so hard. Please play the free demo in the description. It would really mean the world to me. And to pledge to our Kickstarter if you're able to. If not, just to share this video with people that you think would be getting into games, or not even just making games, but also consuming games, but they don't feel like they're represented, so they're kind of hesitant about that. So thank you so much for watching. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments and what other videos you want to see in the future. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day. Bye.
She's a nice person. She thinks that she's doing well. She is doing well for her space, though. I like the fact that she got her own space and whatever. I just don't want your virus infecting me. You understand what I'm saying? Like, if you got a code, you could be around other people that got fucking codes. I don't have a code. I don't want to catch your shit, all right? It's cool. We could talk from the other side of the fence. It's fine. It's perfectly fine. So I don't necessarily have an issue with her, but her thought process is dangerous when it comes to other people trying to bring that shit into spaces that are already dominated by us. We dominate the gaming industry. Sorry, that's just what it is. So when you start ejecting your ideas like, ooh, I don't see myself. Ooh, I want to be represented. I want to understand different type of things that I never understood before. And now you're speaking shit that we don't care about. We don't. I want to shoot people. I want to chainsaw people. Sometimes I want to jump to the moon, fly a spaceship, be a god, and fucking lift up planets and shit. That's all I care about. I don't care about being represented. I don't care about that. Most people don't. Most people just want to fucking play a fun game. You care about that, which is fine. But once you start to try to make it seem like I'm a bigot or a racist or, you know, a sexist or a homophobe or some type of shit like that, right? Because I don't want your trash being thrown in my... I'm not saying it's trash. It's an example. I don't want your trash being thrown on my lawn. I just cut the grass. I just cleaned it up. Why are you throwing shit on my lawn? Oh, you need to accept that trash right there unless you're a bigot. Why? Why? That's the only point I'm making, all right? It's fair across the board. I don't care who has what. You can have whatever you want. I'm pretty fair. Just don't bring your shit over here. My grass is clean. I agree with mostly what she said, especially when it comes to like, with women and shit like that. Like, if you feel like you're not represented enough, create your own shit. It's the same with black people. It's the same with gay people. It's the same with other people. But I'm just going to leave it here. You know the reason why they don't. See, look, what she's doing right now, she know it's not going to last. So what's going to happen is these type of people are going to slowly move over and get jobs in the industry and try to change stuff we as men already like. And now we're going to get frustrated, just like how 40K, the entire fan base over there is getting frustrated. And the reason why Amazon can't settle on the goddamn deal with Henry Cavill and they only got 5 months to make a decision, and it's probably going to get capped because they're trying to bring inclusion and all this other shit with female custodians, all that type of stuff. It's going to be a mess. I guarantee you this shit going to get scrapped though, because Henry not going to bend a knee because they're trying to inject shit into a genre that people are already a fan of since they were a kid. And then you try to insult their intelligence by saying, oh, there always were female custodians. Are you fucking kidding me? See, that's the type of bullshit that I don't like. And that's what this thought process actually ensues. But it's cool if it's in their space. Don't bring that shit to 40K. Don't bring it to the First Descendant or any other game that's male dominated. Keep it over there. And then we'll all be fine. Why can't we do that?